Hello and welcome to Casting Roles, a persistent D&D campaign played by a bunch of theater nerds. Thank you for joining us. If you're liking the show, please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And if you want to find us on social media, we're on Twitter at Casting Roles and on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Casting Roles ILM. Our videos are uploaded on YouTube on Fridays. All right, with no other announcements, we'll go ahead and start the show. So, ticket takers, after a couple days lounging around on an island in the middle of the tranquil sea, you were met up with the Seablade crew, made your way through a jungle, avoiding most of the dangers there, and came upon a temple of Suvenar that was guarded by some weird abominations, I suppose. Quickly dealing with them, you made your way into the temple and deep within, where you successfully deposited the tide bonds in their receptacles and opened the path to Azulore. I almost said Suvenar. Nope. The god is dead. To Azulore. As the devices were put in place and the doorway opened, however, Marlowe blacked out and fell to the ground. So ticket takers, as we begin there, Marlowe.
Yeah.
It's all darkness for a moment for you. And then suddenly you feel your body become weightless, not like you're floating in space, but as if you are floating in an endless sea of water. And slowly a light begins to rise from somewhere, sourceless of no kind. And there's just silver ripples along this surface that you find yourself floating in, kind of gently coming off of your body at various points, but you can't see any structures or land masses anywhere nearby. You've come.
Yeah.
You are close, but so is danger.
They usually go hand in hand.
As it always has throughout history. You suddenly feel yourself like sucked into the water, descending deeper and deeper, the silvery light up above you kind of filtering through the darkened waves. And then your feet touch ground. You blink for a moment, and then your eyes clear, and you're on a wide, expansive plain. Endless grasslands before you. And then off in the distance, you see this towering figure, impossible to comprehend the size of it, a being of water and energy that's towering up above in the clouds or standing on a mountain. It's really difficult to tell. It could be miles and miles and miles away or very, very close. And then through the sky, you see the serpentine form of a dragon kind of flying by. You reach down, grab a sword next to you and pick it up. And then the dragon suddenly is right above in front of you, floating there. We have not needed champions in some time. What has changed on the world above?
Well, the veil is opening up everywhere.
As you say that, along the horizon line, suddenly the sun begins to set, and you get like the bright, vibrant colors of light. But then, towering, almost like a crashing tidal wave, the veil begins to rise on the horizon and is crashing towards you. It is getting closer. They want me for it, to stop it. The picture is cloudy.
Yeah, there's someone who wants to use your body to stop it.
The just general, like the bright blue eyes kind of staring, like tendrils of off the side of the face kind of moving, almost like he's in water. He kind of turns and looks back at the towering figure at the edge of your vision, which you assume is Suvenar there. And then out of the veil, a dragon, which you've seen before in a vision from when you were kind of going in the mirror. A massive dragon of shadow dripping off of it like water, but then turning into cloud as it dissipates off of it. And it flies out, and then a smaller violet dragon charges towards it off in the distance, and they crash. And then disappear back into the wall of the veil. Perhaps we should not send our children into war.
Perhaps we shouldn't start them in the first place.
So how will you stop this one before it begins?
I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Come. Maybe together we can find a solution. Suddenly the dragon is back in the air, far above you. And it kind of goes back to its parent, Suvenar. The veil fades away, and then the water begins to seep out of the ground around you and rises like flood, carrying you higher and higher until you're on that blackened plane of silver light dancing on the water. We haven't much time. And then you wake up.
About how long did that take?
Marlo was out for about 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah, Kaimana's crying.
Oh no. It's okay.
So like the first, he probably got over like shaking them and casting a bunch of magic after the first 5. And now it's just like wet sobs.
Saurus is comforting Kaimana.
I know Mar is tough, so I'm looking around at stuff.
Grip Hook like plops a bowl of porridge in your lap, Marlo, because while you were done, he was like cooking a meal for everybody.
Yeah, so I just like wake up to porridge, just like on. I'm like,
it helps.
Okay, thanks.
You might have been lightheaded. Calories important.
Yeah, make sure you eat more.
He plops porridge in Kaimana's lap.
No, I'm fine. It's
like
okay.
that. It's like that wet, snotty cry,
Wow.
He's like eating
No,
porridge while he's doing it.
I'm good. Sorry for that.
What happened, Marlo? What caused you to lose consciousness?
Low blood sugar.
Yeah, Marn gets lightheaded sometimes. I feel like I clock this. I know what's going on.
Like, I will look at Abel, look at the pirates, and then look back at Abel and be like, you know me.
Yes.
It's yeah, just that anemia.
Post-combat stress.
Right, yeah, but it takes a minute to
Stress
kick
of
in
war,
the post-combat stress. It takes like a.
Y'all are talking too much.
Yeah, I need
I know, I just keep
the
talking.
4 of you to roll a group deception check.
I am not the one to roll deception.
As I'm rolling, don't
Because
worry.
anybody who spoke, Kaimana's just been
baby,
crying.
16?
Yeah.
I got a
sorry.
23. Thank you.
Jesus. Watch me fudge this up.
Abel, I swear to
Come on,
God.
come on
See,
now.
Jury told the perfect lie, and he said it so well, and then y'all just kept talking, and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
18.
Mars nervous.
Okay. I rolled a 10.
Okay.
A 10?
With a,
Always just
That is
so
above
good.
average. Yeah.
wait, with a
Wait.
+2 for deception.
Okay,
That's
12.
12.
All right.
That's
And then if I
good.
got a pump of Flash of Genius in there, I will.
No. So for the most part, like the Seablade crew seem to be taking what would be the equivalent of a short rest and regaining some hit points and eating the meal that Griphook has provided. Arian is kind of looking in your direction, but doesn't seem to clock anything. However, Jury, you do notice like in the back behind Mar, just like yellow
The
eyes
fucking tabaxi.
is just kind of like looking at you. And then she just kind of slinks into the shadows and like disappears for a moment.
And she's my favorite. Damn it.
But for the most part, they do not draw any attention to it. Griphook is just handing out meals to everybody. If you would like to take a short rest for the ticket takers, this would account for that.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You can roll some hit point dice, regain your short rest abilities.
Yeah, I'm going to use something that I always forget that I have, which is the arcane recovery.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm just going to cast the Cure Wounds on myself with the...
Just
Don't use the spell slot. Use.
Well, he has the
dice.
dagger.
The spell thing.
I don't know why like Abel's just stabbing himself repeatedly. You guys are, what are you doing? Like healing myself.
Getting ready for war.
All right.
Until I'm healed. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
healed.
you're all
It
kind
doesn't
of
take that many.
you're all around this space, and this large central iris has opened up, and there's just a probably like a 45-degree angle, probably too steep to safely descend. It seems a about 15-foot wide circular clear tunnel, maybe made of glass or something, is descending into the stone and the stonework of the island, deeper, descending into darkness where you can no longer see what's down there.
Yep. Jury said that they were looking around the room. Did they find anything like sigils or anything like that?
Roll an investigation check, Jury.
Yeah, because I was looking while Mar was passed out.
Oh, I didn't burn any spells.
Is that, you said investigation?
So what happens when you use your staff instead of your real spells? Yeah, investigation.
I got 11.
11. You don't notice any, like the thing that stands out to you the most is there are these circular openings in the walls where it seems like creatures or something could fit through them. Or maybe they're just drainage holes, but your immediate senses go to snake-like creatures would very easily be able to traverse through these.
Oh, bitch, these are creature holes.
Oh,
I don't
That's
disturbing.
like that.
creature
You don't want to find a
holes.
better one? But
Nope.
No, that's what Jury is saying.
Creature holes.
no, that was an in-canon conversation.
Marlowe.
Mar in the sleep state goes, oh, what? No, not that.
I check out the tunnel, and is it glass? Is it crystal? Can I tell?
So it's a little difficult to tell because the entrance to the tunnel, it like the hole drops straight down about 10 feet and then it connects with the tunnel, which begins its diagonal descent. From this angle, it looks like glass, but it either have to be magical or crystal in order to withstand the pressures of the earth around it.
Okay.
Interesting. Also, when Mar wakes up, I put Gift of Alacrity on them.
So for the next
I'm
8
like-
hours. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm like, in case stuff goes down.
That gives you advantage on your initiative.
Initiative, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh no, you added D8 too.
Oh, D8, sorry, into your initiative for the
I
next
appreciate
for the
it.
next 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If something happens, you might want to be moving fast. Or first. Cuckoo.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything that you all would like to do in this space, or as you're moving forward?
Anything of interest that we would?
You can. I mean, jury investigated the space, but you are free, Abel. If you'd like to investigate, you may.
Abel, can you look for traps? Because we had those like pressure plate traps outside that I definitely didn't set off. No one saw me do that. It wasn't me.
That's a great idea, Judy. Let's
maybe look around.
Take the 30 minutes that Marlo was napping, and I will
It's
do.
not a restful sleep, a blood coma.
T-shirt opportunity right there.
Blood coma.
A blood coma.
What are they called? They're like blood sugar comas. What are they called?
Oh, what's that?
Comas.
Diabetic coma.
I don't know.
Blood coma.
Blood coma.
Well, you are a blood hunter, so that
What's the
it's another feature.
What's the
I don't know what I was trying to get at.
What's the level 17 blood hunter feature? Blood coma.
All right. Well, I saw what you rolled.
The medical term.
I rolled a 23 for
A 23. All right. So
Sanguinary siesta.
yeah. Lord.
that's the best one.
Lord. As you're looking around, Abel, there are 4 of those posts that are still raised. And you do, as you're kind of exploring the space, discover that those are trapped. And you get the sense from the way that the traps are aligned that there's a mechanism that would open up a gateway or a doorway somewhere in this temple, and probably release something into this space, whether that be water or creatures, you don't know. But as you're looking around, anything else, it's finally you take some light to the outer walls, and this is a circular chamber, and you're at the center. There's just the light of the torches around here. You're ringed by columns, but on the outside of the columns, there's a wall, and embossed along this wall all the way around is a massive mural.
I call Judy's attention to the mural.
It's a mural.
And
I'm just
Jordan,
kidding.
master of the obvious.
I don't have good perception.
as we investigate the mural together.
Such bad perception. You missed a mural.
You missed a mural. Well, I took into
I was
account.
investigating.
I took into account like, oh, that was such a bad investigation roll. You didn't take light with you.
No.
About right for Judy.
Yeah.
The leaves and not the trees. if you
Yes.
will.
So you start investigating the mural. It's difficult to tell where it begins and ends, but
Maybe I should get swords.
I've got dancing
really-
lights,
it's
so I
really hard
can
to
put
tell.
dancing
Yeah.
lights up to like really look at
yeah.
it.
Source is comforting come on us. So
Yeah.
that's true.
But it is difficult to tell where it begins and ends because it is circular in nature and it all bleeds together. It's not paneled. It's just a solid mural all the way around the room.
I was about to
With-
say it's a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wall.
In my investigation in juries, maybe like
History?
history.
Is this
Maybe.
a historical
You
You
thing?
can do a history check, Jury. Yeah.
Is this historical or religious?
Either or.
Can they do it with?
You can roll
Religion
history
or
or
helping?
religion. Yeah.
I'll do history.
Can they get advantage because I'm helping?
Well, you already did the investigate. You specifically said, I'm using my investigation. Jury can
Yeah.
use history or religion.
I rolled an 8.
An 8.
I don't know what this
It's
is.
a little difficult. I mean, like, so you don't get the, like, what's the starter in? But it seems that, like, the most logical beginning space for the mural is this depiction of this massive temple that is built astride a impossibly deep trench. It descends into darkness. But this temple structure here, very much the similar make of the temple that was on the surface, but clearly much larger. But then as it moves around, you can see how this is a mural that depicts the creation of the city of Azulore. That around this temple structure, they built a pentagonal shape of domes and tunnels that are all linking them together. And at each point that they added a dome, the mural depicts a different species or group of people that were coming together to help with the creation of that. So at the beginning, you have the Tritons who are building the temple. And then they add the first dome structure that this is not just going to be a religious place, but also a place for people to live. And then the Sea Elves arrive. And then you have the water genasi who come in. And then there is a robed group of people in sapphire colored robes covered with arcane sigils. And they seem to be, one of their domes is almost like it's summoned with magic that they're working together to do.
Those people are going to be fucked up.
Yeah. And then the final dome is a smattering of other people. And you can tell that like from that dome is where the entrance to Azulore is finally decided to be, that's like the visitor's entrance or the whatever. That's kind of how they set it apart. The last images depict 5 individuals, each from one of those 5 groups, who are at the end lording over the completed city. And they each represent, like they each have kind of symbolism or representations associated to them that you don't quite pick up because of the low roll. But Marlo would
Mar is the historical one. We probably would.
But Marlo, overhearing the conversation, would pick up on it because the moment you start describing them, Marlo, the way that each of these 5 people are described, it seems to be the Kinkathurge or the Queenkathurge, the collected leaders of Azulore.
Yes, and I told the group that you spelled that as.
It's the Latin for 5, so it's Quinque, I believe.
Kinke, yes.
Yeah, Quinque or Queenkathurge.
Kink. Well, if you're using classical Latin, it's Kinke.
Yeah, Queenkathurge. Mm-hmm. And as you're looking at it a little more closely, like one of them is clearly like they're all scholars. None of them are dressed in warfare at all. They're all carrying books or staves. They all have like the iconography of scholarly people. There's one that is carrying a number of books that seems to be maybe associated with like libraries or things like that. There's one who has a book, but also a few alchemical supplies. So an alchemical person, the sapphire robed mage. There's one whose eyes are white, and in the actual mural, you can tell that they replaced the portion of the mosaic with like opalescent stone to give that impression. And they are carrying some it's weird, like an orb of water or something. It's difficult to tell what they represent, but Mar, you might assume divination, the divination group. There's one that has a scale of coins, so like economic or things like that. But this is a representation of the leadership of Azulore, which is called the Scholar Key of Azulore.
Scholar.
Mm-hmm. But overgrown with vines, long since 200 years of not being cared for this space. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a bunch of nerds.
They are.
Why would they completely just abandon this area?
Well, I mean, they kind of shut the whole place down, so I think this would have been the last of their concerns.
Yep.
Aryan Squall kind of steps forward. Well, this is the entrance for visitors and for people who are coming to Azulore that would not naturally be able to arrive there. And clearly, this is a stay the fuck out sign more than it is a welcome sign.
Yeah. Very true.
Right. So how welcoming do we think the city that's locked itself away for 200 years and already seems to have a thing against visitors is going to be when we show up?
Probably not very. That's not her accent. She's French. Probably not very.
Cool.
That's where some good old-fashioned bribery comes in.
I think Kaimon has recovered enough by this point.
Yeah.
He's gonna have said, well, what if we just pretend like we were always there in the first place?
That is an idea.
As we come through a closed door?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, who left this open?
Don't think that's quite gonna work.
We can put that on the list of plans. Would
Yeah, it could be
anyone
at
like
the
to make a
bottom.
plan that's higher on the list now?
Arian says, have any of you ever done any research on the Scholar Key?
Yes.
Well, you may understand in the reading that they are a society that very much judges people by their worth and what they can offer. I would imagine that if we can prove to them somehow that our arrival will give them something, maybe something that we could each offer to them.
Bribery. Yeah.
Money, not so. They are not a society that functions on money.
Yeah, I meant with like information. That's
Yes.
usually my bag. So
even their economic master, they function through bartering and trade.
do you think one thing would be enough for like everyone, or it would have to be like a big thing? We each should have something.
She kind of looks, and Ilwarin reluctantly steps forward. To be quite honest, they don't really see you as, they wouldn't see you as a group of people. You are individuals. And each of you would have to prove your worth to the Scholarchy to be allowed free reign within their society.
Sure.
Hey, Lauren, I have a question.
Yes.
If a visitor was to come in, say, like today, and would show up in front of them and would pull out, would they would just pull out the wave dancer? Would they say that's cool, or would they say give me that? Do you think? Hypothetically,
Very hypothetical.
Well, as much as
I don't know why I'm pretending she does.
she does. As much as Azulore sees itself as the guardian for the Temple of Suvanar, I don't believe that they would be able to lay claim to the object. It was not even owned. Its former master of the sword was a citizen of Azulore, but again was chosen by the gods and not by the city. They would have no claim to it.
Cool.
Now, of course, that wouldn't stop them from trying, I suppose, but...
Well, but the sword's in my hand, so I'm not going to kill. I'm not going to come in sword blazing, if you will.
Yes.
It just, you know.
I think it's simply you point out that you've been invited, and this is the proof of that you're worthy.
That may work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably my thing. I don't know about y'all.
And if they want to challenge that assumption, you would happily face them in ritual combat, which you would destroy them in.
I'm not really
Not
good
to the death. Not to the death.
I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to say, like, they're super powerful mages, but also, like, have you seen me hit a mage? They take, like, 2 hits and they go down. No offense, the rest of you. I shove off to the rest of the ticket takers.
Just as long as you have high blood sugar.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat of a changeling. Maybe that would be good enough.
Mark,
Yes.
I know the book of manual dexterity, the writing has faded, but the book, it will come back eventually from what I understand. So
Yes.
that may also be an item of value for the library.
Yeah.
Arian, after Jury's comment, was looking at Jordan.
Yeah.
From what I understand of the Skolaki, to be very aware, they do not traffic in lies.
I'm not lying. Don't plan on lying to anyone. You think Faye just lie to people, even though every Faye I've ever met has lied to me? Shit. I'm not like that. Fuck.
I think you answered your own question, Jury.
They probably have methods for seeing through deception.
Sure.
Maybe we should all like tell the truth. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Jury just looks at you and doesn't say anything.
I just look at you. I'm like,
That's the benefit of not having been tried by some of us.
Yeah.
First time for everything.
And Ilwarin says, and beyond that, we're dealing with a culture that none of us are aware of for the last 200 years. Much could have changed. We're moving, but elves tend to move slowly when it comes to transformation and change.
That being said, perhaps an artificer would be an interesting guest in this city then, eh?
Very much so.
Especially one who brings information about Zephrisites, something that they probably would not have to work with 200 years ago.
That would be very true.
I think I have my key to freely wander the city.
Source, what are you thinking about pulling out?
Oh, I have my book on wisdom, so I was going to use that.
Cool.
Plus, I am a unique species.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, they might look right at you.
I was about to
give you a
say.
pass on that one.
But let's not leave you alone with any of them. I like.
Oh, no. We might want to leave me alone with one or two of them
No.
who created the
Source.
snake people.
No. We let's talk about that at the end of the trip.
Oh, can we not get into ethics with these people and they start going down
What's all
ethics
the
paths? I really don't
circumstances?
want to argue ethics with evil
Source, I think
scientists, guys.
I promise I will not start something without discussing it with either Mar or Jury first.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
not something
you.
you can't finish. High five them.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No, stop it, you two. Kaimana, what are you thinking?
I think I might just shape change into a bird.
Could
They
work.
probably got birds, right? I bet they got birds.
But they may have some kind of like anti-magic thing too. So make sure you have a backup plan.
All right.
You are a
What if you
powerful
shape change
druid, I'm
into a
sure.
bird in front of them? To be like, I can do that. So think about that for a second.
Maybe we should just show him Thistle. I think we show him Thistle.
Hey, guys, we got a free pass.
Little Saurus.
I make
You can show little Saurus,
I make
maybe.
the whole wall, like the whole room shut up. Squall Eater, fucking.
Yeah. Actually, everyone.
I
put the dancing lights up behind him.
Okay.
Do a backflip.
Do a backflip.
Do a backflip.
Okay. So Thistle, surrounded by the dancing lights, just like leaps into the air, tucks his tail, whips it around, and lands. And Arian goes back to eating her porridge. Ilwarin just kind of smiles.
I look furious at anyone in this room who just not applaud him.
Grip Hook immediately just goes, now that's something I can't do.
No.
Thank you. He's extremely talented. I found him like this and put it in my pocket.
Do we want to see if we can remove the tide bonds from their thing, if that will close the portal, or if it will stay open? Because if it stays open, we should take them with us.
The 4 pedestals descended into the groundwork, and the tide bonds are now half submerged in the stonework around them. You could try to remove them if you wanted to.
I feel like close the door behind us.
Well,
It's a good idea.
find out if we go down and it turns out that removing these closes the door, then someone who comes in behind us could lock us in.
Or just come in behind us and cause shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the
So-
ones.
If it does nothing, if removing them just leaves the door open because it's basically...
Can we take a look and see if they are removable, and if I think it will trigger anything if we do remove them?
Go ahead and make an investigation check, Abel.
Can I assist Abel?
Yes, you may. So roll with advantage, Abel.
Oh, I don't have my mouse. I can't. Okay.
That's a Chromebook. It has a mouse.
The first one is a 16, and the second one is, geez, a weird looking roll. A 27.
A 27. So you get close to one of the tie bonds and you're investigating it. And it's really difficult. Like it almost looks as if the tie bonds were inlaid in the stone from the beginning. And you're looking for a seam or a way to remove them. And you can't even find a space where like a dagger would fit between the tied bonds and the stonework to try to lift them out. You're kind of investigating the rune work around them. And it's very much, it seems like they're locked in place.
Well,
That's not
Marlo, looks like these aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, I figured as
Well, remember that was part of the bargain to leave the door open behind us.
Well, yes, but if we could have removed them and left the door open at the same time.
It was just good. It was just good to know.
For sure.
All right, let's get out of here. This place sucks.
All right. So you go and look over the hole.
I jump in.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I jump in too, but I like
Okay.
occasionally click on and on my boots, so I kind of like slow fall.
Well, I mean, like it's a 10-foot fall to the descent, and then it's just a slide.
No, I'm not going down that. I'm just jumping in so I can see down the thing to see if anything.
All right.
Because I'm the one who can most easily get back out.
Yeah.
If it comes down to it.
I can fly!
All right. So you all watch as Saurus, like, just white fur just disappears and then just slides into darkness below. Marlo then jumps in and follows. And you just kind of hear like their descent, and they eventually fade into the darkness. Saurus, you are sliding, and there's no, like, aside from with your dark vision, it's difficult to tell because of coloration. It just seems like you're passing through stone, and it's just going and going, and like the far distant torchlight eventually fades as the angle from the doorway vanishes, and you were just descending through darkness.
Is it a steep? Basically, is it a steep angle? Is it something that we'll be able to walk back up without difficulty?
It's about a 45-degree angle.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah, so it's a slide. There's a couple points where you like you're seeing, now that you're deeper in, that there is a line of something on the ceiling that you get the sense that there might have been like an elevator or a tram line that used to be attached to this. That's no longer, like, that wasn't waiting for you at the top. Wee. All right. So everyone, you just watch Saurus disappear, and then Griphook just goes, well, I mean, let me pack up seconds.
What's the range on Messenger?
120 feet. You're very fast approaching the range of that.
Basically, as I'm going out, it's like, yep, it's a slide.
Griphook goes and starts just shoving porridge into a pouch, and then he sets it aside, and then he just like takes a step off and hits, and then slides down after Marlo and Saurus.
Abel will look at Jury and then motion for them to go and say, age before beauty.
I dive off. I say pearls before swine.
And Kaimana, I've got I'm picturing is surfing down.
Yeah,
like on his belly, like.
Oh, I'm on the board. I'm taking the board down.
I push Abel. What do I do? Strength contested?
Yeah, sure.
Oh no, I'm not.
What do you roll?
Oh wait, my strength.
Wait, is this athletics?
It's athletics, is it?
Athletics, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's nothing. It's just a strip.
What'd you get?
Oh, Natural one.
So Abel, like Jury just like lightly pushes you and
Just
like a
Yeah, I rolled a
on
10. I could barely push
like a warm breeze, like a warm breeze. Abel loses his footing, falls backwards. You
like
take
Looney Tune cartoonishly, like arms waving.
you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit the glass or the crystal surface, and Abel, you're now sliding like head first on your back down the path.
I deserve that.
You like quickly like arrange yourself so your feet are going first, and then eventually all of the Seablade crew dive in after you, and you're all sliding down.
Do you want to create water? And
I'm already gone.
Oh yeah, you went first. All right, I'm going last. Make sure all the
Okay,
Seablades
so all the
are
sea blades are down.
Okay.
Arian kind of goes and just gives you a wink and then jumps in and slides down.
She's
And then
so cool.
It's just you, Jury.
Okay, I'll go.
All right, so then Jury slides. Now, as you are all sliding, if you have dark vision, you can see like elements of very little because it's all just gray, and it's just stonework, the occasional like difference of different sediment layers or things like that. If you have not dark vision, you are blind in this space. And as you keep going, Saurus, as you are sliding for about 10 minutes or so, finally, like the scenery around you begins to change as you've kind of like exit out the side of the island, and you are now like on the slope of the outer island descending into the ocean. You've popped out of that, and now you can see above you seawater, and the light of the distant moon, like very far, 500 or 600 feet or so, very, very distant, very, very dark. But now you are surrounded by seawater. The lower portion of the tube still resting on the sea floor. And now it's easier for you to see that there is a line there for some kind of tram or system that would dangle from the ceiling. You begin to feel that it's starting to not level off, but the angle is becoming a little bit less. It's rising up from 45 degrees more towards flat. And you keep falling, and then you finally begin to see something in the distance fast approaching, a structure of some kind on the sea floor that this tube is running into.
Okay. I'm going to shift myself so that basically I'm still sliding, but I'm sliding down on my hands and my feet.
Okay.
So that when I get very, very close, I'm going to take off running.
Okay.
And use my ability to run up walls to be able to not slam into whatever it is that is rapidly approaching.
Okay, good. Go ahead and make an athletics check for me.
Athletics?
Or acrobatics, sorry, acrobatics check. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
29.
Okay, so as you're getting you kind of shift up on your hands and knees, you're sliding, and then you begin to see this thing approaching in the darkness. It's really hard to tell at 120 foot of dark vision, but then this shape begins to rapidly approach. You get up, you start running, you hit up to the side. It's like Sonic in a tunnel, like you like slide up to the side, and as you're running past it, you realize like there's the elevator taking up the lower half of the tram. Your group is heading straight towards it.
Okay, what's on the other side of it?
There is a
just
large.
Like stopped in the middle of the tube, or is it at the end
no,
of the station?
it's moving into like a station house. Yeah, like a large kind of stone structure built on the bottom of the sea that this is running into, and it's a building there. That seems to be magically keeping water out. There's no water inside the building, but it's like a station house.
Okay. I message Marlo and tell her that we've got to figure out a way to slow everybody down so they don't hit this, because I'm sure it's coming into her vision range about this time.
I think Mars does not have superior dark vision, so it's still a little murky for you, Mar. But you get the message because you're only about 120 feet behind Saurus, but you've got 15 seconds or so before you're going to be hitting this space.
Well, since Mars
I yelled
flying,
back
that's
to everybody like loudly, so my voice will carry. Be prepared to stop.
Okay, so you yell up the tunnel. You guys hear a distant sound of a voice.
I will What can I do in this situation, I wonder?
Were you flying after me, or were you sliding after me?
I'm flying. But I'm like running. Let me see. I don't know. I message you. No, you got any ideas on that one?
Stay away from the thing, drop a rope. They can grab it and use it to slow down at least.
I'll get up to it, and I will, once I get there, I'll fly to the top of it. I will light a lantern real quick, so everybody's got like clear visual
Good,
up
yeah.
ahead, like early where this thing is. And then I will drop a rope down.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
I'm going to be on the other side. I'm going to see if there's anything on the other side, like can we shift this thing further forward or take the brakes off so that if somebody hits it, there's some give to it.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check for me, Source. And that would bring Kaimana beginning to get into range, but Kaimana, suddenly a light appears and begins to light up a space down below you. And you see the massive form of the elevator, which takes up about the lower half of the tunnel that you're sliding into.
Okay.
21.
21.
I said I'm on the surfboard.
Yep.
I'm going to try to surf up and around the wall of the tunnel and bleed off my excess energy that way.
Okay.
And so hopefully I am like not moving at all. By the time I get to the
Make
bottom.
a dexterity check, and you can add your proficiency modifier because you are proficient with your board.
All right. A dexterity check, you said?
Yeah, but then you can add proficiency to it.
Okay. 16.
A 16. So you begin to kind of like, you use your momentum to kind of begin to like slalom a little bit. And then just as you're getting to the point of impact with this device, you hit the side and you kind of go up on the side and you begin to lose a little bit of momentum, but you clear it and you fall off of the board and tumble into the gatehouse, but you managed to avoid catastrophe.
Yeah.
Good. All right. That brings the Seablade. Let's see what their rolls on success here look like. Misty's fine. And okay, good. So all of them are successful except for Griphook, who was coming up after Kaimana. And Saurus, as you're like searching for something, you just suddenly hear a poof sound. And Marlo, you look down and like Griphook is just like pulling himself up from the thing. I'm all right. I'm okay. And he's just like pulling himself up to his feet.
I just picture this like the Looney Tunes when Wile E. Coyote just smacks into the side of the wall.
There's a Griphook shaped.
There's a just dent, yeah.
It does a slide down.
And then he begins to kind of move out of the way a little bit. And then he loudly booms up like slow down, like up the thing with his loud voice to everybody who's following after. All the other ones begin to bleed off elements. Saurus, you find a control panel, and the moment you step in front of it, you see like there's a plate that you step onto. And it descends slightly into the ground, and ocean water begins to surge into this machinery. And you can see tubes all around it, and they begin to kind of move. And as the ocean water is pouring through, it's creating an electrical current within this device, and it lights up blue. There are many buttons on here, and there is like a control knob.
So cool.
Abel is still up a little bit. Yeah.
Does it dissuade me at all from messaging Abel?
Okay. So Abel, you're about the 120 mark. You get a Abel call on your messenger. You've got 120 seconds, which for your slide speed is 3 rounds.
Okay. What is going on?
Machines, lots of buttons.
It's not
I'm
what
not
you
going to
see.
touch them. I'm going to wait for you, and you should probably like stop sliding before you smack into the car that's coming up close to you.
80 seconds.
Okay. I am going to see if I can sort of flip myself sort of onto my belly.
Okay.
I slowly initiate the thrust of my jetpack.
Okay.
So I start
Nice.
actually like slowing myself and lifting up.
Perfect.
So I'm sort of like
Retro
hovering
burn.
in the tunnel. Who's behind me? Is it just Jury?
Jury and Arian.
Okay. And as I am slowing myself, I'll see if I can hover over them and offer them my hand to slow them down.
Okay, Arian begins to slide underneath you, and she reaches up and grabs towards your hand. Make a strength check for me, please.
Oh no. No. Jesus. Does that have to be strength?
Yeah. This is, can my arm hold this person who's traveling about 40,
Come on, Abel, you
40
got
feet?
it.
Well, I've got an average strength. It's not a negative modifier. Where's my strength though?
Can I give you inspiration since you're going to be helping us?
You can probably see Abel. You went right after him,
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
I give
Natural
him
20.
Natural 20.
yeah.
Which helps balance out the fact that I rolled a natural 1 for Arian. And so she grabs, and you feel her hand slipping from you, but that slows her speed enough that then she has a moment to think, and she reaches for one of her swords, and she whips it out and then slams out with it, and you see the blades like release on the chain and hit the wall, and the magical blade kind of dents into the wall a little bit but doesn't pierce all the way through, and she uses that to like swing to a stop there on the tunnel. There's still Jury. So Jury, how are you slowing yourself as you're coming down?
I just cast fly on myself.
Okay, you cast fly on yourself.
I'm super chill. I'm
right.
like, what's okay?
Soros, are you
I'm
messing
sorry,
with the
I'm
control
sorry,
panel at
I
all?
pushed-
No, I am waiting for Abel.
Good.
I
Abel.
have, for
I'm
once,
sorry.
I am doing the smart thing.
Good. Let's see. So I've got Ilwarin and okay. So Eliana kind of just reaches out and also casts fly and slows her pace. Ilwarin is kind of sliding through. She takes a jug of water off of her side and throws it forward, and then it crashes and shatters on the ground. She casts control water and carries it to her as like a backwards momentum to slow her momentum towards the elevator. Everyone successful except for Griphook, who did take 25 points of bludgeoning damage.
25.
That's a long fall and a very fast, speedy slam into an elevator. Yeah.
Gosh.
But
Go up.
you're all now at the bottom. Mhm.
I go up to Grip and ask him if he wants some healing. You okay?
I'm fine.
You can use the healing knife if you want to.
He says I'm fine as he puts his shoulder back into
I'm
socket.
I mean,
Alright, buddy.
to heal grip hook if you would like.
No, I've got magic. It's fine. Well, the offer is there if you ever need it.
He is wrapping something around his shoulder and tying it off. I'm all good.
Yeah.
I make my way over to Soros. Show me what do you see?
I just gesture.
Yeah. You see a control panel in front of you. It's very archaic design. But it's interesting because of the way it's using seawater to create the current that's controlling the system that's running here. But you can tell it definitely connects to the elevator here, and probably had somebody who ran this device in the days in which there were people that would visit Azulore. All of the markings on here are in Aquan.
Aquan? Is that an elven language?
No, it's a primordial language.
It is.
You know someone who speaks Aquan.
Yep.
And did just canonically, I think an hour ago.
Less than an hour ago, yeah.
Yeah, you read them off the plinths.
Yep.
I speak primordial.
Primordial, it would be kind of
Dialect.
Aquan would be Spanish, primordial would be Latin. So there would be some crossover, but still two distinct languages.
Did Marlo just read Aquan?
Okay, so
Yep.
Marlo kind of walks.
I do. I'm trying to get you to southern.
Yeah. All right.
Marlo, can you take a look at this one?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so you're gonna. You get up and like it's just like like controls. Like there's like lift, lift, speed, thrust. Like return is one of the option, like one of the buttons, which you assume like probably returns the elevator back to the base structure. But most of this is about speed and then like direction on the device.
Yeah, so I just like point out all of the controls and what they do to Abel.
Cool. Well, shall we see if these ancient elevators still work?
We're gonna find out.
I flip the switch and hit the button to summon the elevator.
Well, the elevator's sitting right there. So you flip the switch, and like the elevator, which was resting on the bottom of the tube, you see as like there's that line at the top of the tube, and you realize that like running through that is seawater is running through that now that this device is on, and you all watch as like a hole opens up above the elevator, and water just begins to pour out of it because it's like, you know, like there's a hole now in the system. But once you push the button, the water conforms itself, and it almost forms like a chain, and it falls down to the elevator, connects with the elevator, and activates a machinery piece there, and it lifts the elevator off the ground. And now the elevator is like free swinging a little bit there, ready to make its journey back up to the top.
Okay.
So you have a way back out if you need to. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So
now
Abel show this to anybody else so that he's not the only one who knows how to do this.
I feel like Soros, you were sitting there with him because
Marlo and Soros.
And Marlo.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I die in these hollowed halls,
I
these
flick you
two
on
all
the
can get
forehead.
everyone else
Stop.
out.
Stop it.
I was thinking more like if you were unconscious, but okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right. But you are now all in the first gatehouse.
The gatehouse. Oh.
Mhm.
What are the other exits from here?
So the gatehouse isn't super big. It's about probably 30 feet wide, and this tunnel connects right into the center of this side. There's clearly like a counter space, and kind of like the way customs has the space is designed so that there's like switchbacks, so you can control the flow of people much easier. You can kind of walk around to the other space, and there is a large kind of like waiting hall area, and beyond that there is another tunnel that goes out into the ocean, as far as you can see in that direction.
Does it have a line over the top of it?
It does, yes. Mm-hmm.
Is there a set of controls on this side for it?
There is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I go and I try and hit the button to summon it.
Okay, you go over and you stand on the control panel, or the control plate, and you feel it go down. But you hear like the whirring sound that you heard right before the seawater went into the system. But for some reason, it's not taking in seawater. There's like something blocking it.
I call Abel.
Abel.
Fair man.
Like around the corner in the room, you hear Soros's voice calling you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are we looking at now?
Okay, so it's a very similar control panel. Soros is standing on the part that makes it like powers the system, but there's no seawater entering the system.
So based on what I have seen from the construction of the tunnel and the way that the other system works, can I deduce what is causing this system not to receive the water that it needs to?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check and add your proficiency modifier.
If I use my
This
tools,
is why I called it.
I use my tools?
You may use your tools. That's fine. Mm-hmm.
Because
Because
that's
my intelligence
higher
of 10
roll.
is not going to do it.
Yep, that's right. Plus. Ooh, that is a 25.
A 25. So Saurus, Abel gets over and like after about 5 seconds of looking at it, suddenly like takes out the Everspark and the entire back panel of this device has now been removed and is thrown to the side and he's exposed all of the inner workings. Abel, as you're looking at it, you see like whatever device is sucking seawater in from outside is working properly. There must be, from what you can tell, there has to be some kind of like jam or blockage within the pipe network. You see where that goes out of the building. And so you could try to take that apart and then try to clear any blockage that's there if you'd like to.
Sure, we'll make the attempt. So are we wanting to position this elevator so no one can follow us down?
No, I was thinking that it's a long hike to where Azulore actually is from the station, so that I was going to summon the ride so that we could ride to the new place.
I see. A little less dubious, but it's still smart.
Yeah, because the other elevator, this isn't stopping place.
Yes.
It doesn't go back.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Now, one thing, Saurus, as you're standing there watching Abel run through this, is that clearly this was designed to have an operator present, and that the device is only active as long as someone's standing here. So you would need to puzzle through that as Abel is fixing this little bit.
Okay,
so
I'm going.
Abel, make a tool check as you're trying to undo the piping. What are you thinking, Saurus?
I tell Jury and Kaimana that we need something heavy enough that's about a person weight to be able to put on this plate to hold it down. And then theoretically we could have Anansi or Jury Mage Hand or something to, when we go to ride it back to the other side, to be able to operate the button so that.
Do you think?
Or I could trigger it and run and jump on the end of it.
Or I could teleport, Saurus.
But do you know where to?
Yeah, if I see the thing right there.
But if it's moving.
Door, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the same thing as you jumping onto it. Me teleporting onto it.
But I'd make it look cool.
I'm not leaving you behind on the stupid jump on.
No. So anyway, let's see if what we can find. So I guess this is a good chance to ransack the station.
Okay.
Well, we should double check it's just a weight plate and it's not like registering us as a person or something.
Sure, yeah. So go ahead and either make an investigation check separately, or if you want to make a group investigation check, one of you can do it with advantage.
I'll help.
What's your investigation?
+4.
-1.
+4.
Yep. All right, so as you had this idea, I'm going to support you.
Okay. Why don't I investigate the station to see if I can find something heavy, and you figure out whether it's the weight of a person.
Sure.
Or requires a person.
Okay. So I'll make Kaimana stand on it. Kaimana, you go because he's the lightest.
I go stand on it.
Okay. And it still works when Kaimana stands on it.
All right.
I stand on it with 1 foot.
Doesn't change your weight.
Now, Kaimana,
oh, like your weight off, like 1 foot off to the side. Okay. I thought Kaimana just stood on it and then lifted his foot up.
Okay, no, you know what? Headcanon, he definitely does that first before he does the
All right. Then I remove Kaimana from it, and I'm like, Kaimana, what do you have in your pack that's like about your weight?
What was your investigation check, Source?
That was a 12.
12, okay.
An alchemy jug's probably pretty heavy. Set that on there.
I got the jug.
I think it's 5 pounds.
I've got this quartz stone. I've got my ukulele. I've got this little small tabaxi statue. I've got
Oh, I'll ask Grip Hook to put his weapon on it. Because that's probably pretty heavy.
Got my beans.
You have to ask Mercy's permission.
I have to ask what?
You have to ask Mercy's. You have to
Why
ask.
would I? It's a hammer thing.
Okay, well now she doesn't want to be involved.
Why can't I just ask you? You're the one with the hammer thing.
Okay, look, you have to ask her, or this doesn't
I'm not
happen.
I'm not asking your hammer.
He walks away.
Do I find anything like a potted plant?
So as
Very different.
you're investigating the space, and on one wall, like as you're walking back through, you see a piece of a mural. And based on the description of the mural that they gave you up at the top, it's the temple over the chasm of the trench in the water. It's like this is the first panel of the same mural that was up at the top. So this is station 1. That's the first panel. You do find you kind of go back into like an office space, and there's papers here that are 200 years old. They are crumbling into nothingness. The moisture of the air, the humidity in this space. You find a lockbox that weighs about 15 pounds. There's a couple other random bits or bobs that maybe weigh 10, 15 pounds here or there. But the lockbox is the heaviest thing that you find. It's a steel lockbox. It's rusted with time.
Is it locked?
It does have a lock on it. Yeah.
But it has a lock, but can I open it and look in it?
So it's kind of like it's rusted. If you could get somebody to unlock it, you probably think that with the right level of leverage and strength, you could probably pop it because of the rusted nature of the joint of the lock.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll pick the lock.
Okay, go ahead and roll a lock picking check. Yeah. The DC is a little high because it's a rusted lock, but
natural 19 plus I have proficiency with tools, so that's a 23.
Nice. So you kind of go through and you realize this is a busted lock. Like this has been wet before. It is rusting. It is whatever. But you get in there, you manage to force the pins into position. It releases. It's just like a simple padlock. You pull it off, and the lockbox can't open now.
Okay, I crank it open.
Inside of the lockbox is a smattering of 150 gold worth of gems, mostly sapphires and rubies.
Okay.
You feel a presence behind you.
There's also a ring that is a very large ring, like a signet ring, and it has like a seal or enough of the way the monks would write a letter and then seal it with wax, that this is a wax seal ring.
Okay. I take one of each of the type of gems, and I just
hand it to Kamano behind you.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
Don't even look at it pass.
They're shiny.
They're just gone from your hand.
You have 3 gems, each worth about 10 gold. You have a sapphire, a ruby, and an amber or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can I tell what the symbol is on this?
It's a very, very intricately designed, pentagonally shaped ring face. There's writing on the outside in Aquan that you can't read, but the symbol at the center point of it is go ahead and make an intelligence check to try to decipher what this symbol might be representing.
2.
It's difficult to tell. I mean, you're looking at
I'm gonna go find Marlo since he reads off.
You're looking at cultural hieroglyphics of a different culture that you're not accustomed to, and so you don't get the read or the gist of what it's representing.
Yeah. You said sapphire, ruby, and what else?
A topaz, sure. Mm-hmm. Each worth 10 gold.
Anything else besides that in the box?
There's what is the leftover of scrolls, but as you go to pick them up, they kind of turn into pieces as you're kind of picking them up. If you carefully roll them out or read them, the elements that you can read, it seems to be a ledger of it has lists of names and dates.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Don't care. Yeah. I'm going to find some of the other bits and bobs and put them into the box. So that probably weighs 25 pounds or so.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'll carry that out and I'll put it on the scale. And then I'll go, assuming that depresses it.
Yes.
Then I will go find Mar to show her the ring.
Okay, good. So everyone had stepped off of the device at that point, so it was powered down. Abel, what was your role on fixing the The tubing. 25. Yeah. So you get the tubing off. You're kind of staring down the tube, and you see like there is something that's kind of jammed into the tube there, and you're trying to like work your tools to get it down. And as you're working, it's almost as if the Everspark realizes what you want, and it turns from like a simple device to this long, very narrow cylindrical object that has almost like a pincer at the end, and you slide that down into the tool. It grabs whatever this object is, and you begin to pull it out. Just as you're pulling, Source drops the the weight onto the thing, and so the seawater has nothing blocking it, and so whatever you're pulling is hit by the force of the seawater moving into the system, and it releases with full force straight into your face.
No.
Anybody watching Abel would see a very small, probably like the size of your hand, octopus that had been living in this tube that's now just like latched onto Abel's face like this, and
You
just
see Jury
holding
go,
here.
Since seawater is now pouring into the room, I lift the thing back up.
And that stops the seawater.
And I look at Jury and go, it's heavy enough.
It's a weight. It's based on weight. It's an octopus.
I'm glad we figured that out.
Nancy
Nancy is now angry with an octopus.
Yeah, Anansi's trying to pull the octopus off of your face. Eventually, the octopus instead starts to wrap around Anansi, and so now there's an octopus sitting on top of Anansi as Anansi's flying around.
Oh wait, Anansi will do his force.
I talked to
Blast
the
attack.
octopus.
You talk to the octopus. The octopus says, "Well, hey, what are you doing? I was asleep in there."
That's what it sounds like.
Sorry to disturb.
I don't know why octopus goes French in my
We
head.
need the water flow through there.
Hey, just disturbing things. It's been so quiet for so long. What are you doing?
Would you like to see more?
I need some water. Can you get me back into the water, please?
Could you let the water flow around you
No.
so that
Ask him to go all the way up the tube and out.
I ask him to go all the way up the tube and out?
Just silly. Make a persuasion check. These surface dwellers always coming in and fussing up my day.
Oh, that's
Fucking
not
Little
that
Mermaid
is
ass.
not a good roll.
Oh no.
Persuasion.
Better persuade him because Anansi's gonna force strike him.
That's a 9.
Tastes great.
9. He kind of you get the impression that if an octopus could, he flips you the middle finger.
I asked him what it would
What?
take to convince him to at least temporarily vacate the tube so we could use it.
Do you have any delicious morsels?
I look at
Oh,
Kaimana.
yes. I look at Kaimana and it's like, what does an octopus eat? He's asking for delicious morsels.
Wait, where's an octopus?
I think he's kind of a delicious morsel.
You look
And
over.
I point at Anansi where this thing is wrapped around.
And Anansi's just flying around trying to shake it off of him.
You see Kaimana kind of.
Oh no. Hold on, let me roll a perception check for the octopus.
It perceives a predator.
It's the moment you move out of the way, Source, and it sees Kaimana, it goes, fuck me, Adata! And it immediately jumps off of Anansi and is slurping its way back towards the hole
Wait,
that
this
it
is
came
my
out
new
of.
pet. Come back. I'm not talking about octopus.
So, not quite what you meant by delicious morsel, but if you leave the tube for a few hours, I can then use the water flow to get him away from here. Otherwise, he's going to stay and he's going to get even hungrier.
He's just slowly inching. I'm trying to go. I'm not a sea creature. I cannot move quickly along the sea forest, the walkway here.
I pick him up.
All right, you hold him up to the.
Will you exit the tube if I put you back in?
Yeah, just keep that thing away from me.
Okay, so I have Abel hold the tube up. I put the octopus back in. We plug it back in.
Okay, and you just see the octopus slowly kind of swimming through the remainder of the seawater, up the tube, and he disappears out somewhere wherever that suction is coming in from the outside.
Right, and then I put the lockbox back down on
Okay.
on the
I'm
map.
away with animals, so it's very
You
impressive.
you owe me lunch.
Kamana,
Grip
we
Hook
could
walks
not
over.
have solved this problem without your help.
Grip Hook
So
walks
thank
over
you.
with his satchel, and he just like opens it, and he's just like, porridge.
No.
It's a little late, but yes, we'll use that next time.
Okay, and he puts it back. He goes back to the
It's
thing.
like Napoleon Dynamite where he's got the tater tots in his pocket.
In his pocket. Yeah.
It's like the fucking thing
All right.
satchel.
You reactivate the device. This panel lights up, and you can see that like the elevator is not right at the station. It's further up the tube. Like when they turned this whole system off, it was making its way here, and it didn't make it its way. It's kind of like 120 feet out in the tube, but you can see it. So if you want to activate it and bring it into the station, you can.
Let's do it.
Good. And now, as you're looking at this, Marlo helps Abel. This station has some extra buttons that you missed on the other ones, that wasn't present on the other one. You can see station numbers, and that there are 5 total stations along this trek towards Azulore, and then Azulore is the final station. You have the ability here to either stop at stations, or you can make this so that it bypasses the station, so that it goes around those stations and does not stop at them. So it's your choice whether you want to stop at each station or just head straight to Azulore.
Let's wait for Marlo to get back.
Yeah, do
Okay.
you want to take like
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a 5 with that thought in your head, and then we'll be back there as you guys have activated the thing and met, I don't know, Perry the octopus, whatever his name is.
Perry the octopus.
All right, we'll be back in 5.
Thank you,
All
Five.
right, thank you, 5.
Thank you, 5.
So you are sitting there at the control panel, and you realize that you have the ability, if you want to set this to just skip through the gatehouses, or you can have it stop at the next gatehouse.
So this is to get into Azulore.
Yeah, from what you can tell is that from this control panel is that this will take you all the way to Azulore.
Do we think there's anything of value in the gatehouses necessarily? I don't really think so.
My gut says go straight to Azulore, but if anyone has any like counterpoints, I'm willing to hear
I'll
them.
look at the person who's from Azulore, the girl in the party.
Warren kind of steps. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time in the gatehouses, just heading out the other way when I was leaving. I can't imagine that they would keep more than bartering tools that were used to purchase tickets. So if you might have found gems or small valuables that citizens used in order to purchase passage.
Do we know what each of the stations, which region each of them serves? So, like, which one's the library? Because I know there's been some concern about the library.
It says, well, I think the representation is just to tell the story of Azulore as you're traveling. Like, so travelers who get stuck at each station have something to look at. There's only one passage into and out of the city.
And I say we
I
just
see.
go straight on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So you key it in. You call the elevator back. The seawater goes out to that elevator and lifts it off the floor, and then pulls it back to the station. It is comfortable enough to fit the 10 of you as you board it, and then
Mage hand the controls for us to go.
Sure, yeah. Abel can show you which button to push to make it go.
I feel like it's a very no, not your left, my left. Kind of.
Yeah. So you key it in to go straight to Azulore and bypass the gatehouses, and you all board. Your mage hand presses the button, and it begins to slowly move away from the station, but then very quickly pick up speed. And as it's moving, suddenly all around the lower portion of the elevator, these kind of greenish blue fairy lights pop up. And so it's almost like you are floating through the air on a bed of light, and it's reflecting through the ocean around you. And it gives the illusion that this vessel is traveling on water, even though it is just hovering in the air. And you can kind of see that light goes out and diffuses into the ocean water beyond. And as you're traveling through, just occasionally you see a a very, like, at one point, like maybe a whale or something, just a dark shadow just kind of passes by the tunnel and then keeps going higher up into the water. But there's all kinds of manner of fish and corals and things that are surrounding this tunnel. And as you're barreling through, after about 10 minutes, the tunnel splits and you go off to the right, and you quickly see as one of those gatehouses passes on your left, and then this reconnects back with the main tunnel and keeps going forward. Another 15 or 20 minutes passes by, and you can feel that the elevator is picking up speed, like it's moving faster with each successive tunnel. The next tunnel is much longer, and so another about 30 minutes passes, and then you feel the divergence as it's going around the third gatehouse. And then it seems to have reached max speed, which you get the sense is fairly fast. And then the next tunnel is about 45 minutes, and then you are swinging around the fourth gatehouse. And then as you're approaching the final gatehouse, there is a moment where you realize that, like, the tunnel has been slowly descending as it's following the ocean floor deeper into the earth, or deeper into the water. And as you're approaching, you realize, like, those of you with dark vision, those of you with whatever, is that it seems to be a wall that you're approaching.
Are we not slowing down?
No.
I look to everyone else.
You have 2 rounds to figure out what you're doing.
Does anyone have any ideas about this?
Are we jumping?
Everybody out? I turn and I pick up Kaimana and I sprint
Is
out.
there an emergency?
Wait. What are we jumping on?
I want to look for an emergency break.
Okay, so as your action on the first round, Marlo,
For OSHA safety,
make
an
investigation check. Yep. Yep. Make an investigation check. Yep. Ocean safety. Yep.
Oh, that's really good. 22.
Yeah, so there is a very simple control up at the front that seems to, like, be able to slow the device down if it needs to be slowed.
I hit that.
Okay. You immediately feel like the forward momentum continues, but it is doing that thing that trains do, which is coming to a slow and complete stop so as not to just tumble everyone out. You do not feel that it is slowing down fast enough to avoid the wall, but it will be a much safer on the next round to exit the device if you want to jump out the sides versus falling out at 200 feet every round.
What are we jumping out to when we're jumping out?
It's just the tunnel. Mm-hmm.
So like what we originally slid down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll pick up Kaimana and jump out.
Okay.
Kaimana covers his eyes with his paws.
All right. So you wait about 6 seconds. The speed halves. So instead of going 250 feet every round, it's now going 125 feet around. Saurus, you grab Kaimana and you leap out. You hit the ground and you roll. You, as a monk, are able to absorb the damage that would have been taken because it's not going to bypass your monk ability. And Kaimana, he absorbs that for you. So on this second round, what is everybody doing as this is approaching that wall, which now that you're close enough, you realize is not a wall of stone or whatever. Something has happened, and this descending tunnel is about to crash into ocean water that has submerged this portion of the tunnel.
Oh, it would have been fine.
Oh, yes, because hitting it that fast is like hitting concrete.
Yes.
Kaimana would have been fine.
All right, so whatever else is doing on this round before the elevator crashes into this.
I'll fly off.
Okay, so you lift off and fly, and the tunnel and the elevator jets off underneath you as you leave.
I'll turn to the other people and I'll be like, I can take one of you with me. Anyone not sure about this?
Griphook says, "You can ask Mercy." And then he just jumps off himself. Eliana comes over and is like, "I'll go." And Eliana, their bard, grabs you, and you guys fly off together.
I'll grab one of the other Seablade crew members.
Okay. You grab Arian
and my
and
jackpack.
yeah, you grab Arian. Ilwarin kind of steps to the back of the elevator. She takes out her shield, and which you see kind of similar to Kaimana's, is shaped more like a surfboard. And she activates something on the shield, and it sheens and coats with water. And then she jumps off, puts the shield beneath her, and it begins to slide on the ground as she is coming to a slower stop.
Hey, will you see if my wild magic goes off?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Will you see if that happens?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and roll a D100 for me,
Oh,
please.
cool. It does?
Yeah.
Sick. That would be 71.
71.
What does that bank me, Josh?
And for those of you who are like keeping track of abilities that take time, it's been about an hour and a half of this journey so far. 71. Okay, so as you fly off, Jury, you kind of miscalculate your takeoff and you hit the wall and you feel like, man, I hit that wall really hard. I should be hurt. But it's almost like you bounce off it and it doesn't do you any damage at all. You are resistant to all damage for the next 3 minutes.
Oh, damage? Hell yeah.
Timing.
Let's go. That's it.
Yeah. And then the elevator, as you all are leaping off of it and tumbling to stops or just lifting off to stops, you watch the elevator go forward and it crashes into the water and just sprays backwards up the tunnel as the elevator kind of crashes and then comes to a rest like further beyond this water wall down at the tunnel. You can see the gatehouse is probably like 200 feet away. Mm-hmm. But it's all now submerged in water.
Oh no. That's good.
But you all come to a stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
And is
okay?
like the wall of water like some kind of force shield holding it up, or is it just where
It's just
was dialing and it's a flat?
Yes, and it's the water has entered into the tunnel system and it has risen up to this point in the tunnel system. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's air pressure is keeping it from
Yes.
flooding higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guess we're going swimming.
Yeah.
Does anyone need help breathing?
Well, hold on.
What about this or little Saurus?
I'm not going to make you waste spell slots on your pets.
It's not totally
If
flooded.
you
Hey, when the party is in like dead and in ashes, our pets will be fine.
Yeah. Ilwarin just says, like, I don't know if this is necessary for all of you. I assume not for Kaimana, but she casts a spell and you feel like this energy hit each of you and you have water breathing for the next 8 hours.
I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we can go through, or is it going to be like some effort to get past that?
So, I mean, you're swimming. And so if you do not have a swim speed, then swimming in water reduces your speed by half. It's considered difficult terrain.
Abel did make a Cloak of the Mentor.
Oh, for me. Yeah, that's for me. You gave it to me, though, so I have it.
Yeah, so Jury has it. And then Abel has one for himself, I think. Yeah.
I got a swim speed.
Because of your sword. And then Saurus has the hat.
Circlet of underwater action.
And then Kaimana has a swim speed. Now, the added element of that is if you did not have a swim speed, any melee attacks would be made at disadvantage underwater. But since you have a swim speed, that does not apply.
I'm trying to find my swim speed. Because it's like, I know it's...
It's probably under your...
I think it's 30 feet.
It's probably under your racial speed.
I might not have programmed it
what
in.
Your walking speed.
Yeah.
Is.
If you go to the walking speed and you click it, you can see like if you have a swim or a fly.
He's custom race, so
yeah, I got that.
I might not have put it in there, but it's the same as your walking speed.
Oh, my swimming speed is 40 feet.
So then it's faster than your walking speed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice.
Which
You're a
makes more
slippery
sense.
little guy.
And you have short little legs. Yeah. All right. So
I'll cast a I'll just cast light to make sure we can see.
Okay, so there's dancing
dancing
lights kind of
lights.
surrounding you all. And as you're approaching the water, the dancing lights are just reflecting off of the surface of the water. But as you force them down into the water, they submerge. And now it kind of lights up what you can see. And it's the tunnel going forward. And then you can see it like angles off down and it connects to the gatehouse there. Or you guys it was right before the split. And so there's the split where the elevator would have kept going to the right, and then the gatehouse is straight ahead. So you guys can either cut to the right and follow the longer trek around, or you can go through the gatehouse.
Is the gatehouse all in water, or can we get to the
All
gatehouse?
of this area of the tunnel seems to be underwater.
Then I think we should just go the longer way, maybe.
So not through the gatehouse.
Yeah,
All right.
Something is likely to have taken up residence in the gatehouse.
Okay. So
We're all
you
on the same page about that.
so you trek around the other side. Now, thankfully, you have water breathing, so that won't be a concern. It will be slower going with that distance, because instead of like 700 feet, it's like a 2,000 foot detour around the gatehouse.
Yeah.
But you head off that way. As you are passing, just to give you a sense of what you avoided.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I just chose that way because that's where the cart was going. So I was like, go where the
I
cart
saw
was
No,
going.
our paranoia
Underwater
knows few
space.
bounds.
So as you guys are passing, one of the things that you do notice is that as you're cutting off to the right, there's weirdly like the shape of a person, like in the tunnel, just laying down like a stone statue of a person. But you go off to the right, and you seem to avoid that as you're making your journey around. It's okay.
Oh gosh, the set is so cute though. Wait, let's go back to the gatehouse.
No,
kidding.
I'm sure
I'm
it's
not
friendly and
I'm
fun,
sure there's
yeah.
I'm sure there's like a little plastic treasure chest that has bubbles coming out of it.
Maybe that
And-
statue just give us a warm hug. Ever consider that?
All right.
There's a ring of fire, like a little volcano, probably. Like
Now I'm just picturing the scene from Finding Nemo when
Yes,
they're doing the little ritual in the fish tank.
ha, walkie, ha, ho, ho, ho.
Let me put away my character sheets.
Oh, sorry, John.
It's okay. That's good. All
No,
right.
it is good. It actually is good for us.
Yeah, you guys had a hard fight, and now you're avoiding one.
I feel like Jerry looked down there and then he was like, "Oh, fuck that."
Yeah. Which is just fine. I can save all these for a later day when you're underwater.
Right.
So you bypass this one, and as you're walking, Ilwarin says, the fifth gatehouse is the customs gatehouse. So we're not far from the entrance to Azulore. It's not too far beyond the fifth gatehouse. And what you can see, because the two tunnels kind of run side by side, you can tell is that this area kind of dips down and it levels out where the gatehouse is, and then it rises back up on the other side of the gatehouse. So you can probably assume that there is air pocket on the other side. But you can tell that near the gatehouse, something had crashed into the structure and had shattered the structure. And so water was flooding in around the gatehouse. So it was open to the open ocean beyond. So anything in the open ocean could have gotten into that space. With that in mind. Okay, cool. So as you're moving, you're swimming through the space. Ilwarin has a swim speed. She's moving as a Triton very quick and easy, or she's a sea elf. She's moving very quick and easy. Eliane is a Triton. She's swimming very quickly and easily. They're kind of helping the others along. Grip Hook is just bringing up the rear very slowly. So you're kind of, if you don't want to leave him behind, you're stuck at Grip Hook's movement speed unless you have a way to help increase his movement speed.
I think my swim speed is 60 with the Cloak of the Manta Ray, so if I'm helping him, I think that's a pretty fast.
That would keep you all at 30, so that's good.
So I'll do that.
Yep. All right. So over the course of the next 20 or 30 minutes or so, you make yourself around this and you reconnect back with the main tunnel. And on the other side, there is another air pocket and you start climbing up. The rise here is not quite as steep. So it's a little slow going and slippery now that you're wet, but you do get up onto the glass and you are rising up out of the tunnel. And once you get up to the top, it flattens out, and straight before you see the tunnel vanishes into a spinning vortex of water. And there's just a platform that you walk across to go into this. And beyond that, lit up, beautiful, magical lighting, you see the front gated entrance of the massive underwater city of Azulore.
Is there a door?
Yes. So it goes to a stop there, and you can see that there's like a wall of water at the entrance, and but it's not like it's just there. It is encased in a beautifully ornate, kind of pinnacled doorway entrance, massive size. But you can tell that that's kind of like the door to Azulore is this wall of water.
How do we traverse or into the door?
Is the water flowing or just solid?
So around the tunnel turns into that vortex of water that's spinning. It's spinning, and then the doorway that's 100 feet or so beyond the end of the tunnel, it is just a torrent of like a waterfall of water that's falling flat down and then disappearing into the ground.
Is the ground a hole in the ground, or is it like mesh?
Mesh.
Basically, yeah. if someone were to go through it, would they be pushed down into the gap?
From this distance, it's hard to tell, but you can just kind of see that it's there. It doesn't seem to be like you can't see from this distance any obvious like cracks or anything. But as you're moving closer, it does seem to be like mesh or something like that.
Okay, so if we try and force our way through, we're not going to get washed out to sea.
Yeah. Good. As you approach, you suddenly see like a shadow appear at the back of the gate, and it kind of slides up through the gate of water and then flips out, and you see this tall, on the fishier side of humanoid Triton, kind of like a crest on his back that is very similar to like a fish's fin. Fins on his arms, a trident in his hand, very tall and muscular with very ornate armor, kind of flips out and lands there and then steps up. This is the first time I've ever had to do this in my job.
Go ahead, go with your script. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Scholarchy of Azulore, outsiders and visitors to our fair city. Please state your business with the Scholarchy.
Yeah, you want to say with a little more gusto, a little more authority.
Can I talk to someone else?
Okay, well.
Hi. Push her to the side.
Just some notes.
We wish to seek entrance into the library and like to meet with the correct people in order to do that.
Another shadow kind of rises up on the thing, and you see another like a sea elf this time kind of come out and descends slowly to the ground, dressed in a robe, and just kind of you can see readying a spell in the event that this was like an invading army of some kind, and she dissolves that for a second. I'm afraid to tell you that the library does not admit entrance to outsiders who have not yet proven themselves.
I summoned the sword. I think we would like to prove ourselves now.
She turns and
the
looks...
wave dancer specifically,
Yeah.
not the other one. They don't need to know about that one.
She turns and looks at her. That's a fancy trick.
Okay, well, interesting.
We can set up a meeting for you with the representative of the Scholarchy. I would have to check the appointment logs to see if there are
Right, can you
appointments
tell them the
available.
champion of Suvana is here to see them?
Make a. It's the.
Nice.
That's not a lie, Josh!
No, make a. It's a persuasion or intimidation check, but with advantage.
I think it's intimidation.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I don't pull on that a lot, but I do have proficiency in that.
Dang, Mar.
Nice flex.
Can I get advantage because I pulled?
Oh yeah, you have advantage. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you have advantage.
Yeah, Mars
Mars
not here to fuck around.
Soris, as this whole conversation's going on, like this is no way that this would ever happen, but I just want this to be because it's funny. As you're sitting there along the tunnel on the outside, you just suddenly see this small like octopus, and it just like makes a motion like and swims away. All right, what was your intimidation check, Marlon?
I got a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. They kind of look at each other again, and the female figure steps forward. I don't believe that sword has set foot in this city in over 200 years. How are we to know that it is a true emblem of Suvana?
I motion for them to back up for a second.
Okay.
And then not in their direction, but like diagonally from them, I will I have multiple things I could do. What am I gonna do? I'm going to cast water net.
Okay,
like,
so you make an attack, and you all watch as Mars swings like through the air. It's like almost as if she's slicing through the air, and what's left behind is this like rush of water rushing into the space where she's carved through the atmosphere. Kind of like the wake of a boat behind, and as she hits, all of that water converges and it splashes out in a direction. It doesn't hit anything, and so the net doesn't take hold, but the display of power is seen. And they both kind of step. And then
I zap the sword back into the dimension it lives in, and I go. So can we keep going now, or do I need to do more?
A third shadow appears at the base of the waterfall, and you see them kind of lift a hand, and it's almost as if a seam opens in the waterfall and it splits, and this older Triton figure walks forward, his arms in his robes clasped in front of him. He steps forward. Well, it's been since the battlefields of the Subversion that a wielder of that blade has stepped foot here. That is the true blade. You may step aside. I will forego the red tape for you and set up an immediate appointment with a liaison for the Scholarchy. If you'll walk with me, please.
Thank you.
Right, and he kind of turns and heads into the city.
Once those people turn around, can I turn back to the group and go?
And then I like turn to the attendants as we walk past him, and I go, "I told you, speak with your chest." And I put Tamar, and then we go in.
They kind of just watch you as you walk through.
And then I compose myself back and put my game face back on and keep going.
So they let the rest of us in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you pass through the gate, and you immediately kind of like you realize that you're up on maybe the third or fourth floor of a built tier system. And this then goes down through a series of steps and walkways down to a massive central chamber. And you realize that, and you look up, and above your head, curving away from this current point, and probably hitting a apex about a half a mile away, is a massive dome of stone and metal and glass that is curving above your head and allows a clear view of the ocean beyond. But it is lit as if it is late evening here, even though when you left the surface, it should be nighttime, but they seem to be operating on a slightly different day-night schedule underground. So probably based on the way that the fake sunlight in this space is operating, that it's probably like 7 o'clock and the sun is just about to set. Like you can see the beautiful colors of a sunset across this glass sphere. Splayed out beneath you is the welcoming, the main entrance space of Azulore. This is you can see roads and buildings and structures and people walking, and off in the distance, a large central tower that is reminiscent of one of the churches of the Nine, but very much with an Azulorian architectural spin. And then there are two main roads that split off in either direction off to the side that seem to go off into large doorways and tunnels beyond, that you can get the sense that like they're arcing off. The general layout of what you can pick up from the city is, as they said, it is a pentagonal structure. It's very much like the Pentagon, like hallways that kind of go off in those directions, but on a citywide scale. With at each point these large dome structures that are the main regions or homes of the people of Azulore. This elderly gentleman leads you down the staircases to the base floor, and a couple individuals in robes kind of come up. So it's true then. Somebody unlocked the gateway with the tide bombs. It is welcome to the city of Azulore. This is I am a representative of the Scholarchy here to welcome outsiders and put them through the processes here. This is Felinor. He will be your liaison with the Scholarchy. And this very tall, handsome, kind of slightly like, like if in the way that like 2 or 3 day growth of stubble on his face that seems like very purposely maintained. Probably 6.5 foot tall Triton gentleman. Not
Ace said it, not
he's got he's wearing like a decorative sash across his chest. But other than that, very little clothing in the sense of like, he's not wearing a shirt because like he's an underwater creature. Like he's wearing like pants that would not harm him if he were swimming. And he's got some symbols.
Like the Hulk.
You gotta stop describing this dude. Ace is dying right now.
He's covered in tattoos.
Does he have piercings, Josh?
Yeah, like he's got a couple piercings on his ears.
Stop.
And he kind of he steps forward and he bows. Yes, my name's Felinor. I'm a junior researcher with the Scholarchy here. I'm a representative, particularly with the Athenium, is where my hat normally hangs. But I can walk you through the paces of gaining access to the city. You are currently in the Palladium. This is the central district of Azulore. The library is located here, as well as the church that you see behind you, which is the Suvinium. You are unable currently to traverse beyond this region of the city. If you have means, after you speak with the Scholarchy, they may come up with a method for you to gain passport to the rest of the city for whatever reason you're here. But this is unprecedented, and so therefore I think that we might need to just make our way straight to the Scholarchy and see if they are available for you. He kind of nods, and then he turns and begins to walk. As he's talking, as you're walking, he just is kind of generally saying, like, the Palladium is the central hub for most citizens of Azulore. This is the place where the Tritons, the Sea Elves, and the Water Genasi all live, just in general harmony. He points off to one direction, and he says, like, through that direction is the Alkahest, which is where our schools of alchemy and technology and research and medicine would be. Off into the other direction, he says, that's the Abyssinium, which is one of our farming districts. So where they farm things here, and where the farming community within Azulore would live. And he says, if you continue to follow the movement around, you can find the Dredge and the Flotsam, which are housing districts as well, but they are currently they were damaged during the subversion and are currently submerged and off kind of like off of line. And then the 5th district, which is separated from the rest of Azulore and has been for a while, is the Sagarium. And the way he talks about the Sagarium is interesting. So if you want to make an insight check into the way he's communicating this to you, you can.
I can listen in too, right?
Yes. Yeah, you are there. Yeah.
I got 17.
Okay. So anybody who got above a 15 on their insight check would pick up that as he's talking about the Sagarium, there's a definite like negative tone to his voice that comes over. Like everything else, he's like very proud of the city, the parts of the city that were damaged in the subversion and haven't been fully repaired in the last 200 years. Those were kind of disappointing. But as he's talking about the Sagarium, there's like this immediate negative attitude or tone comes over him as he's saying, the Sagarium is the district of the city in which the Sapphire Sanctum resides and takes up residence. And then at this point, you're kind of skirting to the side of the dome, and here the dome flat comes all the way to the ground, and there's just ocean beyond, but the interior portion of the city is all lit up. And so if you were to be seeing this from above, like it'd be like floodlights facing inward, and you can just see like a half a mile into the water the distant lit elements of a building, and beneath it the large trench of a underwater trench as this building is hunched across it. And he says, and there at the center of all of Azulore is the Temple of Souvenir. We don't go there much anymore.
What is the reason?
Right,
for
and for outsiders, why would you? For my friends who don't know, you don't go in there because.
The temple is ever since the Abyssinium and the Dredge were destroyed in the subversion, we've closed off much of the city to traversal, and the protective wards that were guarding portions of the Temple of Azulore have since failed, and there is you may have picked up on my communication around the Sagarium. One of the sages about 200 years ago separated off and started calling herself the Seaphone Empress, and she has set up court within outside of the walls of Souvenir's temple, and has gathered many of the non-Genasi, Triton, and Sea Elf population of the water to her flag. The Sahagwin in particular seem to be very drawn to her inclinations. So it's not incredibly safe for a typical Souvenirian to travel that way.
What is she wanting to accomplish?
It is unclear. She has been building structures and things around the temple, apparently exploring elements of the depths. She could not access the temple before. It has been sealed since the rest of the city was sealed from the surface. But I assume that there may be methods to enter the temple now, if the doorways outside are open.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Can I make a common sense check to be like, hey, the dragon's probably in that temple, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's told you that before, but you can go make a history.
He's never told me where he was, so it's just running off vibes.
Actually, so you've read the book, and the book about the dragons implied that Naginda had gone to sleep in the Temple of Souvenir.
Awesome. Cool.
He begins to kind of walk up a hill towards a massive structure, and he says, "This is the home of the Kinkathurge, which is the leadership structure of Azulore. We are not like many cities. We do not have a king. We do not have a police force. The people here must prove their worth as members of the city, and are welcome to contribute to the city in whatever way that they possibly can, and find their home within one of the 5 tribes of the Kinkathoge. Ilwarin in the back as he's talking, and they just keep kind of walking. And then you arrive on the outside of the Kinkathoge, and 3 figures approach.
Josh, can I roll, while we're talking to him, can I roll a persuasion on him to just give him a general good impression of us?
Sure, yeah.
Oh my god.
No, Josh is not like that. And for Ace would be, but no, this is spy shit. I rolled, oh my god. Well, guys, what is 18 plus 9?
27?
27.
I got a 27 to see charming and attentive.
Yeah,
like,
so it makes sense. So there's an immediate thing of like all of your insight checks onto him. Clearly the Sagarian was a problem for him. He is warm and welcoming, and he is free flowing with information.
Yep. But I'm trying to.
And he seems, as he goes, he's more comfortable with you, and like it's going there. But something you immediately notice is that like he's not trying to hide anything from you. He's being very honest about what's going on in the city. Like the fact that they weren't like immediately like poking swords at you when you entered into the city is very weird to many of you, coming from societies that are militaristically minded. But you have not seen a single person with a weapon since you entered the city, other than the guy with the trident at the top.
Perfect.
When you arrive, 3 individuals kind of approach. Felinor, I do not believe that you had an appointment with the Kinkathoge today. As we've told you, we are not interested in reading your research on the slime molds of the southern element of the Abyssium. And Felinor steps forward. If you would only give me a moment, you must understand that if we can understand the simplicity of the slime molds, then we can probably understand the more complicated methods of how centralized heating would be an appropriate method of, and like they begin to get into this intellectual back and forth argument. And then
no, he's a nerd. Maybe he could be jury's third, fourth.
I just give him a gentle like tap on the elbow as it sort of reminds him that we are in fact here.
He stops. I apologize. Would you like to read my paper on slime molds? It's quite
I
good.
would actually genuinely love to, but
Okay.
don't right now.
All right. So sorry. Representatives of the Kinkathoge, these are the outsiders that were reported traversing through the system. They managed to make it safely and were welcomed into the city. This one here in particular has already proven their worth, and I believe should be offered a temporary passage visa into at least the Palladium. And the 3 individuals say, and what of the other 9? Felinor said, well, they have not quite proven themselves as of yet, but I assumed that since they were walking with a champion of Naginda and a champion of Suvanar, that they would be given some deferential treatment. The tallest of the 3 says, Felinor, you know our laws. That is not how it works. But
Fine.
we will grant them an audience. First, in order to direct you to processing, I would need an element of what are you would be offering, so I can make sure that you are meeting with the appropriate representative. You must be offering some element of worth for yourself. Knowledge we have much of, and we do not, we disseminate knowledge into its various many branches and forms. The knowledge of the farmer is just as important as the knowledge of the mathematician. What portion of knowledge would you be offering to the city?
I am.
Well, Soros, go ahead. He was just, yeah.
I have a book that might be of interest, and I might be of interest.
All right. Then I suppose our research branch, the representatives of the Palladium's version of the Sagarium will meet with you if you will follow. And he kind of motions, and an individual kind of comes out from this massive doorway that's just open going into this building. And they're holding the equivalent of the fantasy clipboard. And glasses. Yeah, which room are you going to, sir?
What he said.
Well, okay, so we were going to here. All right, so I'm going to give you and she writes something down, and then she like pulls out, she gives you a ticket, and she says, now the line forms on the right. The line does not form on the left. You do not stand on the left. You stand on the right. There are red chairs and blue chairs, and according to your ticket, if you want to sit in the odd numbers, that would be the blue chairs. If you want to sit in the even numbers, that's the red chairs. So your ticket number is 327. So you want to make sure you're sitting in a blue chair. You can go ahead and go right in over there. There is drink available, water, fresh water. Some of it has some flavoring or things in it. If you take any of it, it does cost a copper because we want to make sure that we can maintain the supply here in the office space. But you can go ahead and make your way over to that entrance over there, sir. Thank you so much.
I looked back at the others and went, I took a ticket. And then I turn and go in.
All right.
It all comes full circle.
All right.
300 something. Did anyone else see that?
Abel, the main representative here, kind of turns to you. And what would you be offering to the scholarchy?
I am an artificer, a creator, and I will pull out a small piece of zephrysite that I have in my bag of holding. We have created ways to utilize the energy from these crystals. Perhaps that is something that I could help you implement into your inventions and your technology.
You mean that's not just beautiful jewelry? And he taps his chest, and you see he's wearing a necklace that has a zephrysite stone at the center in the form of a teardrop. And it's the first time really looking like these three individuals are much better dressed than Felinor and anyone else you've encountered so far. A couple of them have zephrysite gems and imagery on them.
Do you have zephrysite available to you here?
Well, yes, the ocean floor provides many resources.
I could show you how to utilize the zephrysite as a power source.
Oh, well, then we should connect you with the alkahest then. And he kind of motions, and the bespectacled woman says, yes, well, the alkahest building is off to the right over here. When you go in, it's an odd one. They're an odd bunch. They like the lines on the left. It's strange, I know, but you can line up over there. And what is your name, sir?
Abel Abioye.
All right, Abel Abioye, here's your ticket. You are number 1037 for the alkahest. That means blue chairs for the alkahest too. They like to try to make you sit in the red chair, but it is the blue chair, sir. You just wait at that window, all right, sir?
Blue chair. Got it. Thank
all right, and then you make your way up.
Can I just ask, what are the wait times usually around here?
They kind of look at each other.
Like if you had to just put a number on it.
Well, honestly, you're the first to be applying for visas in quite a while. I imagine that the wait time would be absolutely less than an hour.
Okay, so you're just giving ticket numbers from previous tickets that were given out decades ago? Like hundreds of years
She looks
ago?
at it. She says, the last time I handed out a ticket was exactly 125 years ago for the alkahest. The library was much more recent.
Oh, when was the library?
The library was about 27 years ago.
Oh, who was that?
Well, I believe Victor Rylis.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nice job. I'm gonna take a walk now. I'm just gonna do a lap because I'm so mad because I knew that was coming.
All right. Kaimana, what are you going to offer to the Kincaid Thurge?
I know the easiest way to find clams.
They kind of look at each other. We are fairly proficient fishermen. We managed to survive on the ocean floor.
I know some good songs on my ukulele.
Oh, you are a musician.
Well, not really. I just know the lyrics really well.
Could you offer some cultural heritage or any magical items that we may explore or look at?
Do you know what these are? And I'm going to pull out one of the magic beans.
Yeah, those are not allowed here. we had an issue with those about.
He can put them in the bag of holding and he won't take them out again, I promise.
That would be great, because the last thing that we need, apparently one of the things that those magic beans can do is like make giant buildings appear, or like beanstalks that shoot up to the sky. And when you live in a bubble,
What is that?
Wait. Giant building?
apparently, yes. But when you live in a bubble, that's the last thing you want to happen, because then, while I can breathe underwater, not everyone who lives here can, as you can see that we are.
Those things just made like pink frogs and shit. I don't think they did anything like that.
What kind of building?
Oh, I'm not sure. I just have heard legends about, a giant building popping out of the ground where one was planted.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would love for you to keep the beans away. Part of they say the dredge was damaged during the subversion, but it was really taken offline because of a magic bean.
Oh my god.
Anything else
We
you
have
can
a
also
secret
say?
weapon if they piss us off.
I've sent 3 beans around your station.
Because the whole city's water, that does make sense.
Yes.
They're an underground bunker.
Yeah.
We threatened to
You said
put a hole in the
you said
ceiling.
cultural exchange.
Sure.
I can tell someone about the time I hugged Caiaphas.
Hmm?
I'm sorry.
I don't
what?
have to roll deception.
No. I'm sorry, what?
I'm gonna put a hand in this woman's face, and then I'm gonna go down to Kaimana's level. Hey. What are you talking about?
So, and I'm gonna take the
Can I
stone
see
out.
what he's trying to pull out and put his hand down?
He's reaching for the stone, yeah.
As I'm talking to the woman,
Because I know
like-
he has
yes.
the death stone, so I could
Yes.
mark and piece this together
Yeah.
based off having stone experiences. And be like,
Well, he's also reaching into his favorite pocket, which is where he's been keeping it.
yeah. I'll
Yeah.
I'll just put a hand on it and be like, no, not that.
He meant in a spiritual way, hugging, like getting so close to Caiaphas, he felt as if religiously hugging him.
We don't allow worship of Caiaphas within these walls.
He totally gets that.
He's actually a worshiper of
Very
Suvanat. He
Yes.
just had
Oh.
a phase.
Now,
But he's over it.
you are Lutrinian, is that correct?
Uh-huh.
We have not had many Lutrinians come this far below the ocean's surface in quite a while. Last time we met the Lutrinians, they were a very interesting group of people exploring the seas on handcrafted boats. We would love to see how the Lutrinians have advanced over time. If you'd love to meet with one of our librarians and add to our knowledge of the Lutrinian race.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Okay. And so she says, all right, so you're going to be meeting with the Athenium representative. That is straightforward. They don't believe in lines. Just sit wherever you want to sit.
No.
I don't make the rules. You are ticket number 37. Right after Victor Rylas, 36. Okay. All right.
He went to what place?
The library.
The Athenium, which is
Yeah,
the librarian
The
representative.
library.
Yeah. And then Jordan.
What gets me through all this stuff faster? If I play a little song, if I'm part Fae.
The moment you say play a song, again, you picked on this when Kaimana said that he could play music.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that.
They immediately go, wait, you can play music?
I can
We
play
haven't
guitar.
had music here in
So I
200
play-
years.
3 instruments.
Okay. Can we just all three of
wanna
us?
sample?
And so
Alright.
the three of them are like, we're going to take Jordan. You give me the name. We're going to take Jordan and we're going to do Jordan's. And Felinor goes, are you sure? That's quite a
Eleanor, you should
bold
listen
thing.
to.
No, it's just they're such busy people. There's so much to do. All three of you are going to, and they're like, it's music, Felinor. We haven't had music. We've been playing the same 13 sea shanties for the last 200 years. There hasn't been a bard in Azulore in the last 200 years, Felinor.
Jury's like sweating now.
The closest that people, when they teach the kids to play the recorders, but then what are you supposed to do when the teacher can only play 17 chords and they're all freaking sea shanties, Azulore?
Into Jury and just go, I think this is useless.
I'm the only bard here, and there's no other bards. No, listen.
Definitely.
The best thing they said was that there were no other bards. This is my ideal.
Besides the one you walked in with.
Yeah, besides Eliana. Yeah, all right, good.
That's fine. She hates it here.
Yeah. So you are all, and then Marlowe, they kind of say, as the champion of Suvenar, the King K-Thurge have a standing order to accept an audience from you immediately upon entrance. So we will guide you to the King K-Thurge's chambers. I'm sure that they are in, when are their office hours? No? So they're back in session? They are back in session? No, okay. So I believe that we are on the end of their office hours. We may be on afternoon or evening tea time. They do like to take a third dinner space, but if they are available, we can pencil you in. We are supposed to get you in immediately, but also, session time.
Okay.
But we'll go that way.
Okay.
All right. So as you all split off into your various areas, and Felinor and the other representatives are working with the Seablade crew to figure out what they're going to do, we'll pick up.
I kind of want to stick around for that.
We will pick up there next week.
The Ticket Takers fucking
We
talent
missed the part
show.
where Grip Hook's like, yes, my magical item, and holds up his talking hammer.
And then
No,
he does
no,
the
no.
ventriloquy with it.
No. Aren't you gonna ask what her talent is?
Oh god.
Look.
Person's talent.
Grip Hook can carry things. He'll be like, I lift this. I'm really
Are you?
strong.
I think that's a talent.
Yeah.
Wow.
So welcome to the very weird world of the Scholarchy of Azulore,
I love it here.
where they judge you based on what you know and not what you do.
Fantastic.
We haven't really encountered heavy, bureaucracy yet. This is a new one.
Yes.
I don't think Kaimon's going to have a problem.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Definitely not.
You get to just talk at them for as much as you want,
Mhm.
and they're not going to cut you off, I think.
I feel
No.
like
They're gonna ask follow-up questions.
Mhm.
Well,
I feel
what's
like
the
we added to your don't talk thing the fucking death stone.
I didn't hear anybody say
Yes,
that.
but Kaimana is now by himself with somebody.
know.
God knows what gets pulled out then.
I trust him.
I will look at the original list, but I'm pretty sure the stones at this version were
I think
on
they
it.
were on it.
They were on it.
I think so. Yeah.
To be fair,
I think
he didn't
Paimon
mention
is
the stone.
like-
He just mentioned the god of death. So.
True. I guess we didn't specify hugging Caiaphas on the list. Oh,
And I
Hugging
wasn't
the
there to hear that.
betrayer
So.
god who decimated half this city.
All right.
yeah.
No, he hugged the god that decimated one of the cities, and then he's brought the beings that decimated the other part of the city.
Oh god.
Kaimana is
This is
He's a
Jury's
harbinger of
city-
the
this is-
apocalypse.
you know what it is? It's Jury's city to take, but it's Kaimana city to rake.
It's gonna be Jury having to get us out of a bunch of shit by just playing a boring ass song. And Jury's like, I don't remember a lot of songs from Bard School, guys. Like, I dropped out one semester in.
No.
I
the
haven't
thing
really
is, Jerry
liked
could just
playing
make
music.
shit up, and they're gonna be like eating
You
it
say
up.
that, but Jury's not that good. Like,
Doesn't matter. That's the beautiful thing, Ace.
You're acting like Jury's
You-
chill with that, which Jury's not chill with that. But I
Jerry
see
could
what you're saying.
suck, and they're gonna go, "Oh, this is
Oh,
amazing."
Mhm.
I know, it's great. It is fantastic.
And by the way, that quote of Jace's should end up in the short teaser.
Which one?
Blood
It's
magic.
Jury's city to take, and
Oh, yeah.
Kaimana's city to rake.
Great.
Yeah.
That was well done.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Sometimes I have it.
Good.
Cool. All right. Well, good
All
night,
right.
guys.
All
night.
right.
Good
Good
night.
night, all. See you next time. Yep.
All right, bye.